if you can hear me, hopefully you can. So this is the actual gearbox itself. So you have a few different adjustments you can make on these. You can change all this here to basically adjust this on what it's turning on. And you can also change the teeth here, making it different ratios. It's pretty easy, simple. I really like it. It's been nice so far, so I'm going to adjust it for what I need. I've only been putting on 24 pounds. So far, Interseeding's been going pretty good. It's dry and dusty though. I was hoping to have a little moisture left in this field to maybe get the cover crop starting to germinate. Not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. So I guess whenever we get the next round of water, hopefully next week, put some water on this and get those cover crops going. So my long-term goal with this is not to like go organic or anything. I think organic's fine. I guess it's misrepresentative. There's no doubt about that. I don't want to get into that here or there, but what I would like to do is get to the point where the soils are giving the corn everything, or pretty much everything that it needs. You know, if I had to come in and side dress or put a little starter with the planter, that'd be fine. But what I'd like to see is that I'm getting enough nitrogen and phosphorus from the organic matter and from the soil itself, the microbes and everything just working functionally to provide what the corn needs. Is that going to happen? I don't know. I've heard a lot of guys that are doing regenerative ag that they don't put any nitrogen down, and it saves them a lot of money. They don't spray very much. It saves them a lot of money. With corn at $3.20 or something like that a bushel, it's hard to make any money on that. And I like growing corn, so I'd like to figure out a way to make it where I could actually make some money off corn. So I'm hoping that's long term. First off, just getting the cover crops is a big thing. I'm also going to try to do cover crops in a rotation with oats and some other things as well, and see how that works out. So there's a few things I want to try, but just getting cover crops on the corn stand is a big thing for me, and then I'll see kind of from there where it goes. So it was kind of interesting. Well, as I said, I do a lot of reading on regenerative ag and podcasts and everything like that, and I came across a study, I'd say, that they're talking about how our food has lost nutrients, not necessarily the plant, but the food itself that's being made. And the reason they're thought is because our soils just don't have the right nutrients. Well, I guess, let me rephrase that. So, a legume plant makes its own nitrogen. If you give it nitrogen, it gets lazy, and sometimes it won't make its own nitrogen, or won't be very good at it. And I can kind of see it in a way that what they're saying is that our plants, now that we're giving it so much nitrogen, not making it kind of work for it a little bit, it's getting lazy. And so it's maybe not using what's there, or I don't know, I didn't know much about the science, I didn't read too much into the article, but it was interesting to hear how their thoughts are that with regenerative ag, they're hoping to see more nutrients in the plant itself, or in the food itself. So carrots, potatoes, corn, so on and so forth. I know with this farm project grant that's going on, that is one part of it. Certain people are doing that, where they're actually going to take food grade samples, wheat is going to be the big one, and see over time if they're noticing a difference by doing more regenerative ag or sustainable ag, whatever you want, whichever terminology you want to use. But it is definitely an interesting thought, and for a farmer, with us, I read a book one time and it really hit me hard. It talked about how a farmer anymore, we really don't push for quality. We push for quantity because that's what we're getting paid for. It's like in our farm. We raise #1 corn, which is a top corn that you can raise for cattle, not food grade, but for cattle. We don't get paid for #1 corn. We get paid for, I think, #2. There's just not a market for #1 corn. And so a lot of guys are like, why should I even push for #1 corn if I'm not gonna get paid for it? It's more expensive and harder usually to do. And it makes a lot of sense. It's like, why would I want to grow something I'm not gonna get a return for? So with how this regenerative ag is working, maybe it will work out in our favor. Where if we have higher quality crops, maybe we'll make more out of it. And so it's kind of a win-win for both the consumers and for the farmer themselves to get paid. You know, the consumer's getting a better product and the farmer's making one, but in return, being paid for that product as well. Food for thought, something to think about, but it definitely was interesting for me. I wish I could say where the article was. I don't. The book I was reading, off the top of my head, I can't remember the book title either, but you know, you do some Googling, you'll definitely find a lot of this kind of information out there. It's really interesting to read about. Take it with a grain of salt. I don't know 100% if I agree with everything, but it is interesting and some of it makes sense. Oh, you guys are dusty. Ah, better. It's pretty dusty out there today, but got another beautiful day out here in southeast Colorado. It's dry, but at least it's not blowing 30-mile-per-hour wind, and it's not 100 degrees yet. It's getting there. I'm gonna reload. It's the next day. I took a little early off on Saturday. It was actually my wife and I's anniversary for 6 years. So decided to take her out to dinner. It's about the only place we can go in town. But it was nice. Get out from the farm for a day and go enjoy some food with her. All right, got it all loaded up there. There's my bags, but this is what the seed actually looks like. So you can see there's a variety of the annual ryegrass. Looks like some beans of some sort, some flax. Just a little bit of everything in there. Not everything, but brassicas, legumes, grasses, broadleafs. And I'm putting on about 24 pounds the acre, about the same amount as the last one too. All right, so this mix is annual ryegrass, a different kind, as I said, buckwheat, collards, cowpeas, flax, and red clover. Both these will be definitely an interesting mix, this one and the other one, to see kind of what does best and what doesn't. I did crimson clover, cereal rye, and radish in my dad's field, and it's come up already. I've heard crimson clover is a little bit better than red clover at surviving the winter and then shade tolerance, but again, we'll see how it does. I just want to survive the summer at this moment. Man, it's 100-degree days are not fun. But I had a friend come up to me and ask me if he thinks that with the limited amount of moisture we have this year, if the cover crops are going to be the problem, or a problem. And I'm hoping I'm right on this, we'll find out, but supposedly what I've read and what I've heard is that the cover crop's only going to get up a few inches. And that's the big reason why you want to wait to plant the cover crops for the corn to get established. If you go too early, it can be competitive and cause some problems with yield. But going about 3-leaf to 6-leaf, the corn's up and established and has a deep enough root system that the cover crop doesn't affect it at all. We have planted into growing wheat before, and that does cause problems. Sun, water, moisture, nutrients. We killed the wheat, but we killed it a little too late, and it did affect that corn yield-wise that was coming up. Now, the soil looked good and everything looked good, but it definitely affected the corn. So we don't want that. But with these cover crops, most of them are cool season. There are a few warm season in here, but they're supposedly just supposed to go dormant, and you know, the root system's going to be pretty small, at least until it starts growing, but it's not going to be able to grow because it doesn't have the light. So it goes dormant and it really won't use much moisture. Maybe just a little bit in that top inch or so, but you know, most of the time that's going to dry up anyways from the evaporation. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be a problem, but again, until you actually try it on your farm, you really won't know. So just out of curiosity, as a consumer, would you pay more knowing that your food maybe wasn't organic, but was coming from practices that have better soil health? That's a big debate going on right now of whether there should be an increase or a market for regenerative ag or sustainable ag crops. I think if they do find out that the plant itself is more healthy and providing more nutrition, then we definitely have a talking point. But without that, and would you pay to know that what the farmer or what you're getting is helping to sustain the world by increasing carbon going into the soil and decreasing emissions and tillage and blowing dirt and things like that? Just kind of a side thought. I don't know. I mean, I could see both ways. I mean, I'm doing it for myself, I mean, for my farm, but as well as trying to conserve moisture, not trying to blow away our topsoil and things like that. But it's an interesting thought to see if consumers will think the same, if they're willing to pay or not for that. Alright guys, I got done interseeding. I just came over to my dad's field here that we interseeded, I don't know if it's been a week or so ago. If I can get out of the shadow here. Alright, so here you go, you can see this is the cereal rye here. And then there's some clover there, and there's supposed to be radishes too, but there's only a pound of radish. So I think that might be the radish there. But if you can kind of see, it's still hard to see, but you can kind of see 2 rows. So that's how the interseeder works. So that's has 2 rows per corn row. So I mean, it's exciting to see, at least it's working. Something's growing. So right now, what eventually happens, so again, these rows are here, and this corn will eventually shade over that row. And then that's where it's supposed to go dormant. Hopefully, that's kind of the plan. But I'm done with interseeding for now. I just did about 100 acres, 90 acres or so, just to do some tests to see how it works out. We'll probably do some more next year, but thanks for watching. I'd love to hear any questions you guys have or any comments you guys have about interseeding. If you've tried it, if you're interested in trying it, if you want to know some more things about it, shoot me a comment. I'm really intrigued about it. I hope it works out pretty good. But again, thanks for watching. And if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe button. It really helps me out. It's getting windy again though, so thanks guys. Bye.